dogma. He lies with the Fortuna dogma, so he likes to help those that are suffering. Um,
Hmm.
and he's uh he's an elemental, and he's from the excavators and explorers collective. He tends to like to discover abandoned stuff, but he realizes that the reason uh those abandoned elf caves are usually abandoned is because there's typically lots of dangerous stuff there. So he figures he has to learn how to fight the dangerous stuff in order to discover it and live.
Well, based on the composition of this group, I think you are going to be the one fighting everything, but we'll have we'll have to see how that plays out. And how about you, Travis? I think people know who you are, but
I,
is there anything you wish to promote,
I,
and who are you playing?
I believe they do know who I am, but in case you don't, I'm Travis, pronouns he, they. When I'm not running games or playing in them, I'm writing them. I will be. I would like to promote two things real quick, actually. One, the Trinity Continuum Assassins adventure, Rat in a Burning Cage, just came out today for print on demand, and
Hmm.
this is like a huge, almost. I guess the term we were kicking around in the office was virtual box set. Like you have VTT tokens, you have audio assets, maps. All these things come along with the digital side, and now you can get the book asset in print as well. It's super fun to work on. I got the chance to curate some of the audio for it. It was a really good time, and I got to play in the adventure as well. Uh, on the stream here a while back, it was just a grand time. And then the other thing I did want to bring everyone's attention to real quick is my own setting, Odysseys and Overlords, is now the Jumpstart is now available in advanced PDF over at DriveThruRPG as well. So if you're interested in checking out a Savage Worlds based fantasy game, that is now available. Go check that out and leave me wonderful reviews about what you think of it.
Yes,
Um,
reviews. Reviews are always essential. Never discount them, viewers and listeners. A simple review can shift multiple copies, just as can a 5-star or a 4-star rating. So be generous with your time. It only takes you 10 seconds to leave a star rating, and it only takes you 30 to leave a one-sentence review. That's all it takes.
that is true.
Now, I should also mention Rat in a Burning Cage, which is a wonderfully evocative title. Our Assassin's Adventure, written by the wonderful Kimberly Godwin, is, I just want to double down on the fact that as a piece of, well, in a way, assorted or assembled media, because it's got sound effects, you've got maps, you've got counters, you've got the adventure, you've got ready-made characters, loads of stuff in there. It's very much worth checking out.
It's really a
But that is more of a clip.
multimedia package, absolutely.
Very much so.
And yeah, as
Uh,
for who I'm playing,
hmm.
I'm playing M, which is short for Emerald, M Glitterstone. She's a hobgob from the settlement of Oricaster, a member of the Union of Cartographers and Stratigraphers, so wants to sort of uh, ultimately map out the world below, despite that being something of a Sisyphean task. It's something that she would like to see happen in her lifetime. Uh, Dogmatically, she follows the Church of Golthon, though she's probably not as devout as maybe some. She's kind of a lay person of the Church of Golthon. Like, pays lip service to the idea that, yeah, we're all here, we were all welcomed here, the world below will provide, so on and so forth, but isn't terribly zealous about it. She is of the scarab dialectic, so taking in sort of insectile sort of or vermin sort of features into herself, and her calling is a chaosist. So going to be throwing around wild chaos left
Oh, I
and
hope
right.
so.
I hope so.
We'll be looking for your best wild chaos improvisations there, Travis. And if not, you have purchased some sorceries too.
I have
So
picked up a couple of sorceries. Yeah.
yeah. Now, for viewers and listeners of this game, obviously there's going to be some terms that get thrown around, get injected into this game that you may not have heard of yet because the book isn't out. If you do pick up the World Below Ashcan edition from Drive-Thru RPG, I think it's only a couple of dollars, you will obviously understand a little more of what we're going on about, but I will occasionally take the time to explain what's going on, either from a setting and a systems standpoint. For the sake of the players, this is the Story Path Ultra system, D10 dice pools, 8s and above are hits, 8s and 9s are 1 hit, respectively, and 10s are 2 hits. Typically, a difficulty is 1, which means you just need a hit to succeed. But as things change, as the game goes on, we may see how that goes. Now, because our last player isn't yet with us, that will be MK, I'm going to start with our 2 travelers from Oracaster, because that's right, your party is not starting up bound together. You are not in the same place, far from it. Valrek and Mirren is MK's character, are both from Mudtown, and Dale and M are from Oracaster. And there's a wonderful settlement pretty much equidistant from both of these, known as Telva's Hearth. Telva's Hearth is often seen as the heated heart of the world below. It's one of the largest settlements, well known for its many forges, the magma rivers that cut through and underneath it, that keep the settlement nice and cozy and warm. The smell of welded or hammered hot metal is thick in the air in a place like this. It's not just a simple single cavern. This is a complex of caves, tunnels, passages. They're all secure and linked to each other. Whenever a chaos storm rages through the world below, Telva's Hearth stands. One of the stranger things about Telva's Hearth is how some of the inhabitants have taken to hammering usually wrought iron sheets over some of the tunnels that lead in. Not the tunnels good folk like you use, but purportedly the kind of tunnels that carnivorous bugs and other such creatures like to crawl in through. So if you live in Telva's Hearth, it is very much living beneath the steel sky. You look up, there's sheet metal over the top of you. There's a bit of a bunker feel to it. It doesn't sound aspirational. It doesn't sound like a wonderful place, but this is a place of artifice. It's a place of peace, relatively speaking, and it is a colossal way station in the otherwise chaotic milieu of the world below. This isn't where you are. The reason I mentioned Telva's Hearth in such detail at this time is because it was where you were headed. You see, heading from Oracaster to Telva's Hearth requires taking something called the Ferris Road. There are other ways to get to Telva's Hearth, but the Ferris Road is the most reliable. There's a lot of footfall. The Ferris Road is very rarely changed through chaos storms during the calm seasons. And while certainly monsters, beasts, and hostile individuals will also occupy the Ferris Road from time to time, because of the sheer amount of foot, sled, and cart traffic that goes to and from, you don't tend to run into nearly as much danger and damage as you would if you're trying to sneak your way through thin cracks and mine your own way there. And so, Dale and M, you were making your way to Telva's Hearth from Oracaster along the Ferris Road. But unfortunately, every step of the way toward Telva's Hearth, you were hearing increasing rumors from moths, that's merchants heading in the opposite direction, from solo travelers, from what seemed like refugees, people who were a bit battered and beaten, who were talking quite extensively of trouble ahead on the Ferris Road. In the end, there's a point at which warnings become, well, factual enough that you would be foolish enough to throw yourself into the mouth of whatever beast is awaiting. So you took a detour. You're still heading to the Silver Stratum. You're still heading to Telva's Hearth. But upon arriving at the Silver Stratum, the first settlement you encountered was not Telva's Hearth. You got this far. The first settlement you encountered was a place called Fawn. Phorn, that's Phorn, is, well, it's a vast cemetery. It's an odd phenomenon in the world below. Things tend to rot, decompose, get absorbed into the vast underneath whenever someone isn't watching. Over time, things will just disappear. Same applies to rubble. It makes mining very easy. You don't need to worry about where all the refuse goes. If you're digging a tunnel, dumping it in that pit behind you, eventually that pit will swallow it up, but the pit level will not change because no one's watching. Faun is an anomaly in that regard because the bodies on display here, many of them in open tombs, do not rot. They do not disappear. The world below does not consume them. Now, people do live in Faun, perhaps because it's such a strange place. There's all kinds of suspicions as to why the bodies don't disappear here, but you've never visited before and have never seen fit to check. You do know, or you've at least heard, that you can get to Telva's Hearth via Faun, but it is always polite, Dale and M, when entering a settlement to get to know some of the residents, make your introductions, a little like in Vampire the Masquerade. When you arrive in a new domain, it makes sense to introduce yourself to the prince, doesn't it? You don't want to insult anyone inadvertently. And the eerie inhabitants of Faun, well, they're probably not the kind of people you'd choose to cross. And so, tell us, first, Procyon, Dale, what does our elf hunter look like?
So he is about average height. He's got a light skin tone and let's say long, wavy yellow hair and blue eyes. His frame is kind of willowy but sturdy. He does wear his, and I'm gonna butcher this name. Inzingler weave?
Inkslinger.
Inksling. Inkslinger. I knew I was gonna butcher it. Weave under a brown coat with many pockets on it. He has a bag over his shoulder for digging tools. He also wears a brown canvas hat with two very long, elegant feathers in it, and he has a elemental scimitar on the side, as if to feathers are to symbolize his chosen more the element he feels most attached to, which would be wind.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
Those
thought he-
feathers, while by no means more valuable than diamond, are still an oddity. They're still rare. Certainly, sometimes mammals and avian birds and creatures from elsewhere will suddenly appear in the world below via chaos portals. No one really knows where they came from, but they make good eating. And down can make for nice stuffing for pillows or lovely ornaments for one's hat. So while there are very few birds native to a place like this, yeah, wearing a couple in your hat like this is certainly making a statement. How about M. Glitterstone? What's M's chosen appearance?
So she's a bit shorter, lanky arms and legs, greenish hue to her skin, sort of slightly pointed ears, and like long black hair that she wears normally like in a top pony. As far as clothing is concerned, she wears just sort of simple linen or linen-like wraps to cover all of the PG-13 bits, and wears carries a pack that has some basic climbing gear in it, and a shovel, and wears a small sort of shard of obsidian that's been sharpened into something vaguely resembling a dagger that she keeps strapped to her forearm with the same sort of wrappings that she's using for covering.
Okay.
And her eyes, she has sort of insectile looking eyes. They're starting to split and become multiple eye portals.
Now that's interesting. Your dialectic, sometimes it will manifest physically, sometimes it's more of a spiritual morph. But yeah, in this case, it's very clearly affecting you physically. Now that's not going to be off-putting to the vast majority of inhabitants of the vast underneath, because a lot of people go through this change, but it's still something that some individuals might remark upon. So you are entering Fawn. It's just the two of you. You've probably, by happenstance, found yourselves walking in the same path. Well, wouldn't you know it? You're both heading to Telva's Hearth. Maybe upon leaving Oricasta, you basically sought out a band to see who else was heading there and ended up connecting up. Some of them may have turned back when hearing about the dangers of the Ferris Road, but you are determined to head on. So you know each other a little well. I would say that means you can have a bond with each other by this point. Essentially, if you help each other out on a task, that's going to give you an enhancement to the action. So just keep that in mind when you two work together. The inhabitants of Fawn, which is like a vast... It is like a vast cemetery. You have mausolea-like buildings here, some temples with spires. This is the silver stratum, so there's a lot of grey stone, sometimes edged with silver filigree. But this is quite a, well, I wouldn't like to say dull, but lightless place. There's a dim hue to everything, which is probably radiating from the buildings with a low magic. There are some sunflies that are hung in lanterns from some of the building arches. The people who live here are shuffling around, largely keeping to themselves. It's impossible not to see the corpses lying in state, typically in alcoves throughout the walls of this vast cavern, the roof of which is in fact steepled quite impressively. So someone carved this, probably not these people, but long ago someone would have carved this to make this into the interior of a huge building, like a grand hall. Now you can interact with each other. You can have a poke around the place, or of course you can go up to one of the inhabitants. It's up to you.
So, quick question just for clarification purposes. These open sort of mausoleums,
Yeah.
are they placed in any sort of separate or reverent position with respect to the various other goings on in the city, or are they right just mixed in with kind of everything else you would see, kind of like, residents and things along those lines?
They're pretty much mixed in. This may well have just been a cemetery until someone decided to live in it. The alcoves that are in the cave walls, if they portray an order of an importance or hierarchy to the dead, that's something beyond your understanding, at least at a basic level. You may be able to work it out just by studying the dead. In terms of the actual mausolea, the sepulchres, the tombs that are on display, that's where it's easier to determine importance. There's larger buildings, ones that bear more jewels of silver and minerals, of course, dotting them. Some have statues upon them, presumably displaying the bodies within. So yeah, you think by looking at the buildings around here, the structures, you could identify some of the most important. Some of them are, a couple, not many, have spires that almost reach the ceiling of this settlement.
Just turn to Dale for a minute. I'm just gonna say this is really interesting. I'd like a minute to look around before we go speak to anyone, if that's all right with you.
And he just smirks and says, "Oh, go ahead, take your time. I'll." Then he reaches into his pocket, pulls out his little, since based on where he's from, probably a little ignominious rock
Hmm.
that you would have heard it referred to as Clyde, little pet rock, and he just kind of tosses it in his hand a little bit. Oh wait.
M's going to drop down on all fours, pull her shovel out, and sort of tap it on the ground a few times. And I would like to use this sort of activity to focus my energies and activate my orienteering sorcery. I just want to get a basic idea of, obviously, that if successful, that gets me the chaos level and the depth, but also if I can get just some basic further clues about the nature of these bodies. I'm sure I'm not the first person to try this down here, but I would love to know more about what is preserving those bodies and why they're not rejoining Golthon like they should be.
Well, yeah. Go for it. So this is is orienteering part of the Chaos Wisdom? I think it is, isn't it?
It is part of the Chaos Wisdom.
Okay, so that means we are looking at a couple of things. For instance, I can tell you that while your character is unaware of it, you will gain an enhancement of 2 to this roll, providing it is, of course, a success. There are no complications innate on this roll.
Awesome. And that's esoteric intellect for me.
Okay.
So
difficulty is a flat 1.
And our target number is 8, correct?
That is correct. 8s, 9s, and 10s. 10s give you 2 hits.
So that would be 2 hits before enhancement, so a total of 4.
Okay. So as you got the enhancement, I think that's almost certainly going to allow you to buy additional tricks if there's any that are pertinent associated with this sorcery.
So effectively, the way that it works is at a base level, you know what the chaos level of the area, the depth that you're at, and then everything else beyond that base hit. Extra hits are 1 piece of bonus evidence that you get for like investigating the area.
Okay. So in terms of the chaos level, you're on a level 2. The Silver Stratum, specifically this settlement, is level 2. For you, that's not exactly awful. You actually benefit from a depth like this. You're not as close to the well as you would be in Oricaster.
Sure.
But you're still not in a dire state close to the surface or anything like that. You can also tell that there's no ambient abyssal qualities around here. There's nothing sapping chaotic energy, which comes as a great relief given your attunement to same. The question you ask about the bodies and why they're not decomposing in this area is a very good one. You're essentially trying to get a read from the chaotic energies here. Is there something magical preserving them? Has someone worked a sorcery to do so?
Right. Is anything fueling into or pulling out of these bodies? Is there any sort of chaotic interaction going on at this point? Anything along those lines? That's the main thing I wanted to try to discern.
And that is indeed what you find.
Oh.
In the heart of this settlement, I mean, you can sense it with 4 hits. You can sense it in one of the mausolea with the spires specifically. You think there's probably a chaos rock of some size and potency, keeping the things around here in it's not even a state of stasis. It's a state of vitality. These bodies aren't undead by any measure, but they're basically freshly dead. They're kept in a state of continuous repose from the exact moment they die. So if you go up to one of these bodies and you put your hand to it, you probably find it's still warm, rather disturbingly.
That is disturbing.
But most certainly dead.
Well, I will share that information with Dayal. And just one last question for clarification. Is the chaos level here in step with what I would expect for the depth?
Yeah, but not in step with something with a chaos battery of such potency.
So I'd expect it to be higher with that battery present.
It's quite possible that there's something dampening it within this mausoleum, or maybe it's just kept in containment. The one thing your sorcery can't tell you is the purpose behind all this, of course. But yeah, it's certainly a curiosity.
Say, well, Dale, I know we're on our way and we have a journey, but I sure would like to poke around here a little bit.
Well, I suppose we can we can spare some time. I can't exactly. I shouldn't leave you. I shouldn't go on and leave you by yourself.
Well, thank you so much, and I'll hop up onto my feet, throw my shovel back on my back, and say that place looks real important, but maybe we should talk to some local folk before we just go knocking on the door.
Speaking of which, a huddled over individual scuttles from a doorway in your direction, sniffing at Dale a little before looking at M and frowning. You recognize this person as a Makiru, what may commonly be considered a rat folk. You're not from around here, are you?
Nope, we're just passing through.
Yeah, it's strange. Travelers don't often come via Fawn. There must have been something happen on the Ferris Road.
That's the rumor. People said big danger, creatures, not a nice place. Not like this, which is a very nice place.
Well, we do enjoy our isolation here.
Have we offended by entering your settlement?
No, not at all. This isn't a place that is secluded for the purpose of peace or reverence or worshipful silence or anything like that. It's just unusual, that's all. Ferris Road, it's such a popular means of transit that we sometimes forget that people may choose to come here. Not that you did. I suppose you were diverted. Sorry, I'm losing myself. My name is Barkus Whiptail.
We're happy to be here, Barkus. It's quite a lovely settlement you have here.
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, you must be. We must apologize. There will be some people around here who are quite shy around newcomers. Most people who come here for a reason.
Would it make people feel more comfortable if we manufactured one?
Well, that's a very fine idea. Why don't you come with me? I was just about to. I've just been pats a sack. Just been harvesting some fungi, very good ones, more than I can eat alone. Why don't you come with me and we can get something to eat, maybe?
Oh, that's very neighborly. Thank you so much.
Must have been a long road from wherever you came.
Quite hungry, so I deeply appreciate the gesture. Thank you.
Yes, might as well.
Where did you come from, out of interest? How far have you traveled?
We've come from Oricaster, but
Oricaster. That's so low down. You made it all this way, all the way to Fawn from Oricaster. Remarkable.
Yes, we have some business in another city beyond, whose name is escaping me at the moment.
Telva's Hearth.
Telva's Hearth, yes.
So many do.
But we found this was the fate has driven us here, perhaps.
Fate?
I prefer to think of it as luck.
Luck?
The will of Golthon, whatever blows your hair back.
Well, it is as if your hair moves in a breeze that does not exist, friend from Oricaster.
That's just because I'm excited.
No, not you, the other one.
Oh.
Oh, well.
Start nervously playing with my top pony.
Yes, well, that's what you get when you're an elemental.
I am as well. Oh, we have so much to talk about. Come to mine, my habitat. I will prepare these fungi for you. I promise you, I am quite the chef.
Well, why not?
Lead the way.
What do you think, Em?
Oh, absolutely. I could eat. I could definitely eat. So much excitement. It definitely works up the appetite.
In any other scenario, a creepy rat person luring you into a mausoleum with promises of food would probably send you leaving. But you are hungry. You have traveled a long way to get here. And we are led ultimately by our stomachs and the desire to not be rude to our hosts. Heaven forfend, I'd rather die than be impolite.
Right, absolutely. I'm also absolutely keeping, I'm ready to drop Aegis at any given moment if I have to.
Not the Trinity Continuum game.
Not that one.
Same name.
No, the extra armor superpower.
Yes. Well, we will get back to the two of you in a moment because we have been joined by our mysterious fourth player who has hot-footed it across the great state of Texas, all the way from east to west, just to make it to our game.
Yes.
MK, very pleased that you've joined us.
Me too. I got stuck behind a Chick-fil-A delivery truck, which is the most Texas thing I could ever think of.
Oh no! Well, I've given the other players the opportunity to tell viewers and listeners who they are, and if they want to promote anything, they can do so, and then to tell us about the character you are playing. So, if you would like to do the same, that would be wonderful.
Hi, I'm MK Anderson. I am the managing editor of Onyx Path Publishing. You can find me at qualia.bsky, like on Blue Sky. And let's see, I'm playing Mirren, who is a fanatical elf utopian from Mudtown. And also, what am I? I am Myceli. So that's fun.
You wouldn't take exception to people eating fungi in your presence, but you're not with this group because, as MK knows, as Michael and Procyon know, as they all play in my Eclipse Phase game, I like to separate the group pretty regularly. I don't like people working together. So you two, being M and Dale, aren't the only individuals who are heading for Telva's Hearth. While you were heading up from Auracaster, Mirren and Valrek were heading down from Mudtown because that is where both of you are from. And as I've already established, Telva's Hearth, massive in World Below terms, a form of metropolis, if you will, with a great deal of forging, crafting, lots of reasons to visit there, whether for trade, discovery, to get an up-to-date map of the layers. All of this can be found in Telva's Hearth. Just like our party ascending, our party descending have sadly fallen off the beaten track. The Ferris Road runs from Auracaster up all the way to Mudtown, or depending on your point of view, runs all the way down from Mudtown to Auracaster, cutting through Telva's Hearth in the middle. So how you can actually get lost on that way is something we're going to have to work out between Mirren and Valrek. There would have been a good reason for you to travel, and maybe just like our travelers from Auracaster, it was simply a case of, as you were leaving through one of the gates, you asked, is anyone else heading to Telva's Hearth? And yeah, and you joined the party. It makes sense. But for whatever reason, it's just the two of you now, and you took a wrong turn somewhere, because while you're pretty certain you're on the Silver Stratum, which is where you want to be, you're not seeing any engravings, any etchings, any tablets buried in the walls pointing you to Telva's Hearth, where you are right now. Valrek, being played by Michael. Mirren, how do you think you ended up getting lost. What happened? Was it some great fight? Was it just you stumbled into the dark? Do you have a crude map that sent you the wrong way? What do you think happened?
I would think for Valrek, maybe kind of a crude map. He probably doesn't leave Mudtown that much, and this is he's maybe been getting a little bored with Mudtown. He and MK's character are both in the Kitchen Guild, so they probably would have traveled together kind of by default. Yeah, probably just some kind of a crude map and took a wrong turn. Valrek kind of thinks he knows the best way to do everything, so he probably kind of took charge and blundered his way into getting them lost.
Yeah, and I think Mirren probably would have deferred to somebody who knows the way, because I don't think she's been outside of Mudtown either.
Well, and that's may have been a mistake for the Farsighter, because Farsighters are supposed to be very good at navigation and listening to the world below, but clearly you trusted this alchemist, Valrek, who seemed very confident at the time. I mean, alchemist, kitchen guild, it's a match made in the heavens above. But lost indeed you are. You've not encountered another living soul for the last day. Now, that may not sound like a long time, but during the period between calm seasons, the wandering season, the major thoroughfares, the well-trod tunnels, passages, and habitats that caverns people use as habitats, tend to boast travelers. People want to explore, they want to hunt, they want to harvest, they want to send messages from here to there, or see new things, develop themselves. Where you are, it's been at least an entire sunfly cycle since you saw anyone other than each other. And so that's, especially for Mirren, if you've never left Mudtown before, which is a pretty people living on top of each other settlement, unsettling.
Yeah.
Your current environment is a rather narrow, sharp passage. The walls around you, they protrude with silver ore. If you had good mining equipment, and maybe you do, you'll have to tell me, you could probably pry some of this out and use it as currency or for trade further down the line, but then again, that may not be what's on your mind right now. There's a few sunflies buzzing above you. They give a weak light in this tunnel, which seems to head in a slight descending gradient.
Well, I think we're lost.
No, there's supposed to be a shortcut nearby. They said there was a shortcut. I got a good map. I paid good coin for this map.
Is there a role that Mirren can
Yeah, you're starting to suspect Valrek is a serial killer.
Like, let me see what I have on my.
It's just over here behind the rock that says free grubs on it.
Yeah. Like I have survival, a couple of dots.
Well, what are you trying to achieve with your action? Is it to find your path or orient yourself, as it were?
Yeah, orient myself.
Survival and intellect would probably do. I would say that you have got a difficulty on this roll. It's unusually high because you genuinely have no idea where you are. So I'm going to give you a difficulty of 2 and a complication of 1. So what you're trying to do here, by all means, if you get 2 hits, you beat the difficulty. You'll still get a minor complication. You can, of course, if you get 3 hits, also eat the complication. Now, the complication in this case, if you fail to buy it off, is going to actually make you damn sure which way to go.
Awesome. So I'm gonna roll dice because we're on this path now, and we
Yeah.
can't stop it.
Do we have
No.
a bond? Can we use our
You
bond
do indeed.
to
You're
increase
yes,
the...
if you're helping each other because you are together right now, you have a bond. You can have an enhancement.
We are
and
friends, despite Valrek's weird voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That what that
Well-
means is if you score even one hit, you will get an enhancement.
Remind me if ones take away from the
Nope.
from
No, ones
So-
only really matter in this if you get absolutely 0 hits.
awesome. So I've got a 10, a 9,
Oh.
and yeah.
Well, la-di-da.
La-di-da.
Yes, so you get a 1
And-
hit for your 9, 2 hits for your 10, and you get your enhancement. So never mind the high difficulty or the complication. Yeah, you think you could work out. You have a look at the crude map that is engraved or inked on some rather dubious looking skin.
And I like,
Turn it
turn it
yes, turn
around.
And realize, that's where you went wrong. Yes, of course. You took a left. Should have never done that. Never do that in dungeons. Never go left. But at the
right.
time, it seemed like a good idea. And now it seems like a very bad one. Now, here's the thing. You could head back the way you came, try and find your way back to the Ferris Road, but it doesn't. It looks like there is another settlement close by, according to your map. It's not the settlement you want to get to, but it would be a place to rest your head without worrying about grubs pouring out the walls and eating it.
That does make sense to like maybe we should rest.
I am getting tired.
There's
Yeah.
a acrid smell that is suddenly infusing the area, and you don't think it's Valrek or any of his alchemical doings. It's quite acidic. You haven't stepped on anything. You haven't brushed any fungus growing out of the wall, and in fact, you didn't specify you were chipping away any of the silver, but there's definitely something unpleasant. On top of that, behind you, the way you came, although the tunnel twists and turns a little, you can almost certainly hear, those are footsteps. They're walking with some purpose in your direction. Now, just because
Gosh.
there's footsteps, that doesn't mean it's necessarily the end of the world. But at the same time, that acidic tinge to the air, if you're the kind of person who believes in omens, it
And I
would
am.
scarcely be a good one.
Oh gosh. I think perhaps we ought to hide. What do you think?
Somebody else is looking for the shortcut. I suppose so. We can... where there's smell, there's food.
That is true. But I don't think it smells very good.
The smell is
a
getting
lot of-
stronger.
Okay, so
Oh,
we're
let's
hiding.
dip over here.
You're going to find an alcove to tuck
Yeah.
yourselves up. Are you tucking
Yeah.
yourselves into the same alcove, or are you finding separate ones? Important question, this.
Probably separate. Valrek is a larger gentleman.
Yeah, and I think I'm wayfish.
Yes, you don't want to be crushed in a sort of fatty Arbuckle situation. That's a that's an early Hollywood reference there for all of you
For the
viewers.
kids.
Yeah. All right then. So can I ask? So you're making pointed efforts to hide. Do any of you have any theses, syntheses, or sorceries that are going to assist with this that you may wish to invoke at this time?
Now with syntheses, remind me, can you
Hmm.
only use them once? Or
It
can
will
you
say in the
use them-
description they tend to be once per story or once per scene.
Let me see. I might use bliss
Mm-hmm.
to
Well-
to make whoever approach is not hostile.
I
mean,
have air
that's-
of authority. It can scare somebody.
So Bliss is a once per session story. Yeah, you nullify all negative mood-related area effects with a medium-range band. And Air of Authority, which is a thesis, I believe. Yep. Another powerful one as well. When you're someone in your group is under intense scrutiny, you can project your authority to stop the line of questioning. So you can by all means both use this. There's no activation role to use these powers. They are except to say that Air of Authority, it's a reflexive leadership action. You can impose destroyed reputation on someone accusing you, which basically means socially they become a misfit. How well that would work in an isolated cavern like this? Destroy their reputation with whom exactly? But
With us.
yes, you can still impose
Yeah.
authority. So you're
Actually,
hiding away.
I'm
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm just gonna wait until I see what they are, and then I'll
Hmm.
see what. Yeah, I'll just wait.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm gonna wait too.
Okay, so first things first, I'm going to ask the both of you to roll. I think we're going to go for survival and stamina, please.
All right. I have 8.
Oh, okay. We're looking
got
for
six.
this one's going to be another difficulty 2. There is a reason for that, which will become apparent. So you want 2 hits or more. No complication, however.
I got a 10, an 8, and an 8. So 4
You're good.
hits.
I've only got one 9, and the rest are under 8.
Ooh, well, if you want, you can spend one of the group's momentum. You have 4 if you want to make one of those failures into a... well, you are currently failing, so you can turn a failure into a success.
Yeah, can I do that? Do you mind?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Guys.
burn it.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's what the momentum's for.
Yeah.
All right, so we're
Yeah.
down to
Let's
3
burn
momentum. All right, then. So you basically withstand the need to choke or spit or make a loud gagging noise because the odor that passes, you could be mistaken into thinking this is at first you think it's just a vile odor caught on the breeze, but then you realize there's something almost tangible, almost viscous to it as it's passing through and occupying the air slowly. And because you can't help but take it in, it almost feels like whatever it is observing, it's looking or sensing. You've heard of these things, maybe. If one of you wants to make I'd say, science or culture plus intellects, you can. If not, that's fine.
Sure, I'll do that.
Oh.
I've got 6 dice in that.
All right. Because bear in mind, if you do it, you are, of course, risking failure as well.
Right.
Complication on this. There is a minor complication. If you don't
Failed
fire-
it.
Oh, so
Didn't
you
get a
fa-
single success. Or
So not only do you
single
not
hit.
know what this is, but it notices you. This cloud of gas, for a moment you see what is almost a humanoid face appearing from this mist that coagulates, turns slightly physical and solid, and then disapparates again before it descends upon you. You can hear the sound of footsteps. What is it? What have you found? Back down the tunnel. So as this miasmil descends upon you, Valrek, I'm going to ask Mirren, you have heard that voice back in the tunnel. Are you going to do anything? You're going to step out? You're going to stay hidden? I'll let you think about that, and we'll go back to our 2 in the settlement of Fawn right now.
All
And
perched up, nice and comfy.
yeah, eating your mushrooms, being poisoned to death. I would like to say right now, of course, This one shot is in aid of Make-A-Wish. If you are enjoying what we're doing, if you like the sound of the world below, we of course do love it if you buy things like the world below ash can, back us on Back-A-Kit and so on when the crowdfunding campaign comes out. But more important than that, right now, and for all time, to be quite honest, Make-A-Wish is a fantastic charity. I think everyone knows what it does. Everyone knows the kinds of people it helps. There's a lot of people it makes incredibly happy through the people that help it, the people that work for it, who, well, they're trying to make often the lives of terminally ill children better, and it's difficult to brighten that. It's difficult to make that sound optimistic, but genuinely Make-A-Wish can make a difference in someone's life. And so, yeah, if you are enjoying what we're doing, we're just messing around, we're just having fun, and we're hopefully being entertaining and getting you interested in a game. If any of that is true, if any of this has been entertaining and continues to be entertaining, please consider using one of the links in the chat or heading over to Make-A-Wish and making a donation of any amount. That's why we're running this, and we'd love it if you support them generously. So, in the settlement of Fawn, which isn't hideously far away from where Mirren and Valrek are currently being cornered by Miasmil and its communicative companion, we have Dale and Em currently being fed a mushroom stew, being prepared in the same way that Link might in Breath of the Wild, with a ding, 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 diddly, diddly, ding, dubious food. No, you are presented. You are presented with a lovely mushroom
while he's cooking.
mushroom skewer. The mausoleum come house that you have been taken into, well, you wouldn't choose to live in a place like this, but nice places to live in the world below are pretty sparing. In a relative sense, it's a good habitat. 4 sturdy walls, looks like a sturdy ceiling. What's most curious to you are the glowing gems dotting the ceiling in all kinds of interesting patterns. Some are larger than others. There's a circular carving in there in the ceiling that's central. It glows with an orange light that even gives off a little heat. And there's another carving not too far away where another gem has been inset, flat, polished, and this one's a gleaming white color. Barker Swiptail serves you your mushroom skewers. Well, tuck in. Oh, so wonderful. Auracaster coming all this way. I'm sure you will find Fawn quite the interesting place to visit.
Well,
I do hope you stay.
I'm already finding it quite interesting as he's given his guild and Dogma. He's looking around, quite entranced by the gems he sees around. So I believe, yeah. So examining geology. Yeah, so he's just taking a look around the interesting geology.
Oh yes, are you interested in the decor? Have you introduced yourself out of interest to Barkus at this point?
Yes, I would have to imagine. So yeah.
Are you interested in the decor, Dale?
Yes.
Really is quite remarkable, isn't it?
Yes, these gems are quite beautiful.
Indeed, no inhabitant of this one though. Gestures at a slab and a sarcophagus. None in here. Empty, but for me, I'm usually quite lonely. We don't often dine together in Fawn, sadly. And almost all of us have to share with the recently deceased. But of course, in Fawn, they never rot. So at least there's no pungent odor.
Wait, do you have to feed him?
Oh no. Don't be foolish, Emerald. No, no, but it would be wrong to move them. These are their homes before they were ours, and so when we move in for shelter, well, we set up our roll or cushioned carapace as distant from them as to give them the comfort of privacy. But it would be incorrect. It would be inappropriate to move them from their own tombs. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure. I gotta admit, I mean, it's a little unusual. It's not to what we're accustomed. In that, have you ventured outside of this village before?
Oh, certainly, yes. I've traveled.
So you're familiar with the unique property of this place.
Remarkable, yes, remarkable. Please do enjoy the fungi. I only harvested them earlier today.
Not exactly what I meant, but will do. And I'm just going to look this over before I take a bite of it. Just, is there anything that is glaringly wrong with this?
No, nothing glaringly wrong
Excellent.
without some kind of dice roll.
I mean, I have a whopping 1 dot of survival I would love to apply to this to see if this...
Yeah, let's
like
do
a
it. I mean,
cunning and survival, would that be...
The momentum has gone back up to 4 ever since Michael got consumed by a miasmil, so...
could I talk you into cunning with that?
Yeah, you can use cunning.
Excellent. I have worse dice pools. Oh, look at that. That's
no complication on this one.
That'll be 2 hits.
2 hits, all right. I mean, it hasn't been prepared well. You're no connoisseur.
Sure, no.
But it's this isn't exactly haute cuisine a la Oricasta. This is pretty badly grilled mushrooms to the point that all the flavors probably been burned out of them and replaced with a rather acrid taste of char, not the vegetable. But you know, it'll fill a hole.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I will start chowing down and just be
As will
grateful.
they all.
Yeah.
Thank
you so much.
I take great pleasure in being able to feed people. It's just such a rarity that I can. You understand, I'm not often a host. Not so few visitors, so few people pass through here.
Of course. Do you think that that's just because of its isolation, or do you think that...
Yes. The Ferris Road, you see, it takes everyone goes to Telver's Hearth, always Telver's Hearth, Telver's Hearth, the metropolis at the center of the world below. I've seen maps. He nods knowingly. It's not at the center.
I can confirm that theory. It is absolutely not the center of the world below.
No, I dare say no one knows what the center of the world below is. I have every reason to believe the well is more likely to be the center of the world below, but who can say really?
It's an interesting thought. I've dedicated some effort and time to the idea that we will one day know. I hope.
It's a bold ambition.
Yes, I hope to see it within my lifetime, but if not, I will build a strong foundation for the next generation to take and skitter about and find answers with.
That is just splendid. Remarkable, remarkable. Please, as I say, tuck in. Dale, you cannot take your eyes off those gems, can you?
Sorry, I'm part of the Excavators and Explorers Guild. Geology is kind of part of what we do, so.
I see. Well, there are some. I'm no member of the collective myself, but I know enough about ores to say that I do not know all of these ones. The gleaming orange one in the ceiling. I do not know what it is, or indeed the pearl-like white one. These studs are a combination of diamonds, quartz, sapphires, quite valuable. Whoever designed this mausoleum, it was not me, made an effort to truly dot the sky with gleaming minerals to bewitch the dead, I suppose, and keep them locked in place. Except there is no body in this tomb, and so perhaps their
Well,
work went unfinished.
well, I appreciate the work they did do. And then he'll take
Yes,
a bite of the mushrooms.
yes, please do. So, if you choose to stay here a while, I must apologize. You may occasionally hear scraping and digging and clanging and grunting all around Fawn. There's a mining group, much like your explorers and excavators. They are a part of this settlement. They recently elected that they were going to start exploring the territory around Fawn, and so they're starting to hollow out soft rocks and maybe find new places for us to stay. But I can honestly say it's almost enough to wake the dead, the noise that they produce. Really quite a disturbance.
I should hope not. You would
Well,
have very, very many cross citizens if they did.
I
well,
do
it's always
suppose we
good to
would.
explore more, though. It's always good to explore more. Plenty to be discovered.
No, I don't know. I have traveled, but sometimes I think we need to comfortably rest, do we not? I mean,
That's true.
I imagine more people who explore get devoured by fossil dragons than those who remain where they are.
Well,
Well, that's always a risk, so I suppose.
likely, yes, but you never know. A fossil dragon might show up and eat your settlement one day, and and then you will have, lived a life of safety that ended in tragedy, and not have gained anything. What have you learned? What have you experienced?
What a fascinating idea. And yet, I don't believe that will ever happen. And I have certain solidity to that belief. Because these tombs have been here far longer than any of us. And these tombs have been without disturbance. These bodies were here before us, and they have not been consumed. I suspect that if there were to be any natural predator make its way here, or unnatural one, it would have done so long before our arrival. I think this is probably the safest sanctum in the world below. Maybe even monsters respect the repose of the dead.
Could be. Do you know who maintains this that sort of central spire? Is that controlled by your local constabulary, or do the guilds watch it?
There is no way in. There is a door, but it is sealed shut, and several of us have sensed the power emanating from within there. We think it better to leave it undisturbed. But what if it is the tomb of some mighty king or demigod? Why bother what is not bothering us?
That is a enlightened viewpoint.
Well, I can
Uh,
understand it to a degree, but must always. I'm more on the side of let's open up and see what's in there. But
there was an elf who lived here a while, only recently left. Sunlight in the Dark, her name was. She was always talking about opening it up. What if there were some riches inside? What if there were the possibility of life anew? What if there was the secret to bringing all these corpses back from the dead? So many questions on her mind, on her lips. In the end, we had to find a way of occupying her that was not, let's claw open these doors. And so she was a part of this expedition above our heads right now. And well, she departed the settlement recently, suddenly. Very sad. She'd been here such a long time, but sometimes people get captivated by wanderlust. It wasn't for her.
Departed, but she did leave wandering. She did not.
Yes, she found something that she brought back to the settlement during the excavations, and she did not take kindly to it, and so she left. She just departed for Telva's Hearth, of course, as always. Telva's Hearth.
Well, I can understand having wanderlust.
How long ago did she depart?
Oh, only in the last day or two.
And what did you say her name was?
Sunlight in the Dark.
Sunlight in the Dark. Excellent. Sunlight in the Dark.
Hmm.
Perhaps we will run across her when we reach Telver's Hearth. Is there a message from home you would like?
Well, she has a tomb full of her things. You know, she fled. It would be nice to know if we need to remove them or burn them or bury them. Someone else could be using that tomb.
Sure. Before we take off, would you mind showing us to it?
If you insist. Have you eaten quite enough?
Oh yeah. Good, but I had just eaten actually just before getting into town. So forgive me if I've left a little bit here, but I really appreciate the food. It was very palatable.
Do not worry. There's a litter of pups in this settlement who will devour whatever's left on your plate. What about you, Dale? Are you heading with M, or are you going to take this opportunity to explore elsewhere?
Yeah, he'll leave with he'll leave with them.
Okay. All right. It was Sunlight in the Dark, just so you know. So I think everyone was wrong there. But yes, Sunlight in the Dark. So the two of you head to Sunlight in the Dark's tomb. But while this is going on elsewhere, will our party ever meet up as we reach the halfway mark? I don't know, because I'm dreadful at pacing. But we will see. We shall see. So, first things first, I need to know from MK, what did you choose to do?
I'm turning on bliss at this point, and I'm stepping out.
All right, you step out, and the illumination of the sunflies brightens up the rather hideous appearance of a fleshy, bald man whose skin is absolutely covered in molds and rot. There's cavernous holes in his cheeks, and just above his right eye, one of his eyes looks putrid. His lower lip looks swollen, like there's probably some kind of infestation going on in his mouth that's crawled through to the fleshy bits. And he is wearing rags. He holds a staff. The top of the staff, which he probably uses for walking more than for combat, bears a skull on top of it. This guy couldn't look less appealing if he tried, and he probably is trying to look as unappealing as he can. And yet, he does not attack you or approach you with hostility, because you just used your synthesis And he sees you. He cocks his head and looks at you, narrows his eyes, looks almost like one of his eyeballs fit to pop out when he narrows one, like that's a great deal of strain. His thick lower lip protrudes. Meanwhile, by the way, Valrek is being gassed to death.
Oh, okay.
He looks at you and he says, "What are you doing in my tunnels?"
We got lost.
You got lost, did you?
Yeah.
Oh dear. That's tragic. Now, Valrek, you are currently being consumed by a miasmil. I'm going to look up one of their powers right now because you failed. We've got a deadly aura here. Could I ask you to make a... Well, first of all, I'm going to ask you what you're doing.
Well, I guess getting away from it would be smart, but I don't know if that's possible.
You could burst out and essentially run.
Yeah, I guess run out of the alcove and back into the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. All right, athletics and dexterity, please. You need to apply a moderate complication. That is 2 complication. So difficulty 1, complication 2. So you need 3 hits to bite off.
Well, I have only 3 dice to roll, so I will fail this.
Well, you may get. You can use momentum.
Yeah.
I got 2 hits.
2 hits, so that means the complication is reduced to minor. So you can take 1 damage. That means basically fill one of your boxes. I could have imposed a status effect instead, but I think we'll do damage here. Essentially, the corrosive aura of this thing does sear your skin, find the really soft, fleshy bits and burn them, so the lines on your face are slightly deeper once we're done. It lets out a noise at you as it is basically when consuming. You do beat the difficulty, so you are able to push your way through it and out the other side. Now I'm going to check Bliss again because I want to make sure, I want to check whether it affects both of you or whether it is just the user. It's all negative mood related area effects within a medium range. So with that said, I think that the Vrot priest here, when he sees Valrek burst out, isn't going to act with a sudden "die, intruder" or anything like that. He's again curious. He's neutral. And he looks, Valrek, you come tumbling out, running out into the tunnel. He looks to Miasmil. "Ah, you caught one, did you? I see. Right." Bares his teeth. Most of them are rotten black or down to points. "Please don't run. It'll make things a lot harder. I would much rather things went easier, and so would you. Better to return to the mulch from which we originate calmly."
Valrek does not run.
We might
Well,
run.
That I am merely trying to ease your transition into mulch. So take a seat or lie down, make yourselves comfortable, allow the miasmil to consume you. Your deaths will strengthen the world below.
Why? I just have a question. Why our deaths? Why is it that you get to live?
Someone must shepherd the people like you, and of course the miasmil. These are my tunnels. I worship the world below, and I worship the lords and ladies of Rot, and if I were not here, dear traveler, who would do this role? It is punishing. It is so punishing on my soul, my wits, and yet it must be done. So again, I invite you, sit, lie down, tuck yourself into an alcove, allow the miasmil to consume you. If we must chase, things will become more painful. Valrek, you can attest things are already painful. You've just been seared by hydrochloric acid.
Hmm. We might come back this way. Maybe we could do it next time.
Valrak will not be consumed. Valrak consumes. He is not consumed himself.
So, MK, are you trying to
Yeah.
persuade this cultist to basically...
Next, give me a rain check.
Yeah. If you want to make a roll on that, if you want to go for persuasion and manipulation, ooh, I think this is an influence action, essentially the difficulty of which is going to be 3. Yes, you have him on a neutral footing, but his entire raison d'etre is to feed the world below lost travelers like you. He isn't negative. So he isn't outwardly trying to club you to death with his staff or setting the miasmil on you there and then. You have the opportunity to negotiate. If there is any item you could offer him, anything that could buy your freedom, slow him down, I will give you an enhancement. Right now, I would say, Valrek, your insistence that you are the consumer, you are the devourer, essentially, is probably not an enhancement.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, MK? Do you have anything to give you enhancement here?
I have on my person my mother's finger bone.
Mm-hmm.
And I might pull it out and just,
Is it
I
just like a
don't
middle
know, like,
finger and you're going to flip the bird with your mother's finger? And
I mean, I might just offer it as like a trinket and say you know, I these a couple of comms ago, I already gave up someone. So I think we've given enough for now, right? It can wait.
you're trying to appeal to his sentimentality, essentially,
Yeah.
as well as the fact that you have already sacrificed someone to the world below, in a manner of speaking. I'll give you an enhancement. So if you can beat the difficulty of 3, congratulations, you gain an enhancement. So he may even direct you where you need to go next.
Okay, so I do roll 6 dice, I believe, so it's not impossible. Let me make sure.
You
So
currently have 5 momentum because Valrek. Oh no, because you did end up beating the difficulty, didn't you? Just to beat the
Yes, so
complication.
4 momentum, I
So
think.
yes, we're still on 4 momentum. My apologies.
Can I spend them ahead of time, like, or is that just after the fact?
So here's how momentum works. It's best to go through it in, I guess, toto, so that people actually watching know how momentum works as well. So momentum is a shared resource pool. If you're familiar with They Came From, these are rewrites. It's called Momentum and Scion and Trinity as well. It is as I say, a shared resource. Each game session starts with momentum equal to the number of players, and you can use momentum either to add an enhancement hit to an action on a 1-for-1 basis. In that case, you'd spend momentum after the dice have been rolled. You could spend 2 momentum to change a failure into a success, or a success with consequences if there's complications present. You can't spend more momentum afterwards to buy enhancements. Or you can spend 1 point of momentum to describe a story element that's now a fact, probably not appropriate right now, or spend 1 momentum to gain a piece of evidence about an investigation. So in answer to your question, MK, you can spend it afterwards to add enhancement, or more importantly, spend 2 momentum to change a failure into a success, which seems possible here.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead roll.
Okay.
I have
Mm.
1, 2, 3, 5 successes.
5 hits. Wow. Okay.
All
that
right.
Yeah,
is
I've got 9 and 8, a 9 to 8 and a 10.
No need to worry about that momentum.
No. Yeah, we'll just discard the momentum. I'll reduce it to 0 for, because you're rubbing your success in my face now.
I'm sorry.
Valrak and Mirren did it.
Yes, Valrak was integral.
Yeah.
You're slowly smoldering. Okay. You solemnly hand over your mother's finger bone. And in fact, given how many hits you achieve here and the effect of the bliss synthesis, which is in effect, the Vrot priest looks at the finger bone, looks over to the miasmil, which is floating just behind him now. He looks back to you and says, "No, you may keep the memory. Keep it, put it away. I am not a heart of stone. I understand loss. Sometimes we must sacrifice ourselves, and sometimes others have already performed that duty on our behalf. I would not rob you of that. The world below will take you, just as it took whoever that belonged to. But it does not need to take you today."
Thank you. Do you happen to know the way?
The way? Well, we are not far from a settlement, a so-called settlement, by the name of Fawn. More of a necropolis than a metropolis, but still, it is close by. Do you have a map?
Yes. And I'm gonna look over. Show him the map. Show our friend the map.
He looks to Valrak. He doesn't look at all apologetic. "Oh, you look like you've had a skin treatment," he says, pointing at the map. You look so like 20 years younger.
Valrak is biting his tongue.
Good.
Yes, you will find Fawn there. You just need to follow these passages. They are doing some grotesque excavation around it. Try not to get caught up in that. The diggers have grown quite possessed with their charge. Make your way to the settlement and you will find safety. But do be aware that those who do become lost in these tunnels will be consumed by the rot. And that includes yourselves. A reprieve is only a reprieve. It is not a immunity.
Of course. Thank you, friend. And I think she's going to toddle off.
Yes, and as they're both walking away, Valrak is like, "I did not like him."
Well, he liked us.
The acidic smog follows you quite a way, even though the Vrot is not on your footsteps. Clearly, this miasmil is, until you finally turn a corner, and then the air is much clearer. There is a passage of air flowing down to up, you think, a ventilation shaft. You're not sure what could be causing such a burst of wind. It's not on your map. It's just one of these many curiosities. Maybe there's a small chaos portal down there to some elemental plane. No, you can make your way to Fawn. And while it is another hour's travel, which is quite some time when you're just clutching along in the dim light, you do finally find your way there. Fawn has only one way in and one way out. It is a large, round cave entrance. But as soon as you enter, you spot these bizarre edifices, these mausolea, these tombs, these buildings that the living now occupy alongside the dead, the alcoves that are carved into the walls here where bodies still lie in state, somehow not decomposing, not rotting away like everything does in the world below rapidly. This is a strange place indeed. There are a couple of buildings here with spires that rise up almost to the top of the vaulted, steepled ceiling, I should say. Someone has carved this place, built it. It is like a grand hall containing hundreds of, cemeteria. It's a strange place indeed, unlike anywhere either of you have been before, but at least it isn't a jagged tunnel with a Vrot priest in. And as you arrive, wouldn't you know it, 1 hour and 40 minutes in, the party finally meets. Yes, I know. You don't know each other. You've never encountered each other before, but travelers recognize travelers. You've both been on the road. Both of your respective parties have been on the road for some time, of course, albeit from different places. And so while Barkus Whiptail is leading the both of you, he looks to Dale and Em. Friends of yours from Oracaster? More visitors?
No, I've never seen these folks before, but that doesn't necessarily mean they needn't be friends. No,
I've never seen it before either.
I'll wave.
Fine attitude, remarkable attitude, remarkable. Greetings, welcome to Fawn.
Greetings, I am Valrek, the Never Satisfied.
I'm sure you are. I am Barkus Whiptail.
I am Dayal.
Yes, and this is M. Glitterstone,
Oh.
a wonderful appraiser of fine cooking.
Oh,
It is true. Are you hungry? I think there were some leftovers.
yes.
Do you have any of that with you?
I didn't bring the mushrooms out with me, but they are back in my tomb.
Of mushrooms.
Oh yes,
Yes.
fine fungi growing
Ooh.
around some of the cadavers in this tomb. Their bodies provide a certain heat that allow the fungi to grow.
Yes, our new friend was
Wonderful.
just going to go show us the domicile of a resident who recently left. But before we do that, we could certainly, if you have food to spare, and this person is hungry, then I would much rather we handle that first. Also, what has happened to you? And I'm going to start walk over and probably, how tall? You're a taller folk, correct?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, 6'2", 6'3", something like that.
So I'm probably on tiptoes, reaching at your face, but failing to get to it. And what has happened here? What?
We encountered a Varot and defeated it in the tunnels of the world below.
We made a friend.
I see. Does that hurt?
No.
Okay.
Surprising. It's like it might, but okay.
Yeah, cool. You looked like you might be in some pain. If you were, I was going to try to help. But food it is. Let's.
Oh well, I suppose I can take you back.
Well, I mean, or if you want to just give us directions to where we would go from here to get to that spot, and then we can all go back to your place, and then we can just get out of your hair.
Yes, that sounds agreeable. Yes, well, it would be sad to say goodbye, but I suppose I shouldn't get attached. Everyone moves on eventually, don't they?
I would love to collect some of these corpse mushrooms.
Oh, well, I'll be pleased to be your guide. Very much so, yes.
Do you have enough to spare? I wouldn't want to take anything you couldn't spare.
Oh, the population in Fawn is quite low. We could never eat everything here.
Thank you for your hospitality.
It's truly, truly my pleasure.
I think Mirren's a little bit iffy about eating corpse mushroom, but, but when in Rome, eat a corpse mushroom.
Oh, don't worry, they taste.
Goodness.
They taste blank. All right, so Barcus is taking you back to his tomb again, showing you the half-eaten scraps of charred fungi. Yeah, they're not exactly again, as already established. This isn't fine dining, but it is definitely food. And at least judging by these other two, it doesn't appear to be poisoned.
Well, Valrek is very hardy. He can eat anything. He has a stamina of 4.
Not as hardy as the Alice.
You indulging?
Yeah.
Good.
Eat the magic mushrooms.
Good. Yeah.
Well, sometimes a mushroom is just a mushroom, and in this case, while they don't taste all that great, they do still fill you up. Sometimes that's all you need. If any of you had the deprived status effect at this point, you would no longer have it because you have had a hearty meal, even if it isn't a good one.
Quick question.
Yes.
I have a short-term aspiration that might have come into play here, and I just wanted to check partially to see if it's something that Em would have felt like she'd accomplished, which is to provide food to a hungry person.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's not your food, but you've certainly directed them to a meal.
Cool. Awesome.
A friendly Frenchman just living around the corner. There's a meal. He provides them with some mushrooms. So, tumbleweed in the streets of Thorn. So if you want Barcus Whiptail to simply direct you to where Sunlight in the Dark once lived, he can do that.
I mean, and I'll tell him, I'll be like, I don't want you to feel like you're unwelcome to join us. We just have taken up so much of your time and resources already.
You have, but
well then.
Rest assured, it really is my pleasure to meet such fine travelers. So few people come to Fawn, really. It is remarkable that you've come here. Really, quite remarkable. You know, he says, pointing up at his ceiling, they say that way above us, far, far, far up on the surface, have any of you visited? That you can still see jewels like these in the sky above.
Really?
That's what they say. When I took over this particular mausoleum, I was told by the previous tenant that at least this was her belief, that these diamonds and sapphires, opals and pearls, amethysts and all the rest, that they were supposed to correspond to celestial bodies in the sky, and that the great orange disk was Sol, our sun, and that the great white disk was its counterpart, a solid object that would obscure its light and send the world into darkness. They call that an eclipse, or once did. I am given to understand. But of course, that is a vision denied to us except through carvings and mineral placements such as these. We will never get to see the like again. So we should enjoy the view that we have in my tomb, because, well, we are all in a tomb, aren't we?
Yes.
I suppose in a way, but if what you say is true, it's fascinating. I'd like to see it someday.
It's a beautiful vision, but as my mother told me as a child, the only thing that's worse than the horror stories about the surface are the ones that aren't horror stories.
Well, I'm sure I wouldn't know this far down the silver stratum. We get very rarely visited by the surface touched. But where did the two of you come from, if not from Auricaster?
Mudtown.
Mudtown.
Yes, we're members of the Kitchen Guild in Mudtown, which is why
Oh,
we are
I do hope
very
you
interested in your
my
food.
fungi.
Yes.
Simply a mushroom skewer, really. Nothing terribly exotic.
Oh, don't talk about yourself like that.
I'm nominally part of the Kitchen Guild myself. We
Oh,
don't have a guild house here, but when I, as a young rat, discovered that there was a guild dedicated to the culinary arts, I've wanted to dedicate myself to it, and I've never found a guild house nearby. There is one in Telver's Hearth, of course, but I'm not going to that place.
well, why don't you like the idea of going there?
It's all the hustle and bustle and appearance of being better than the surrounding settlements. This idea that if you want to be somebody, you have to be from Telver's Hearth, or you have to visit Telver's Hearth, or you have to make something or buy something at Telver's Hearth. The world below is a vast and interesting place. Fawn is just one side of it, and Telver's Hearth is simply a trap for moths attracted to the light. There is nothing of substance there, nothing of meaning, not like we have here.
I do
Sorry.
think there's.
No, it's and Valrek has a little pouch, and he's like, "Wait, please, would you like some victuals from Mudtown? Some spider's legs, fried spider's legs."
Oh, but my heart skips a beat. I would be delighted to sample your fried spider's legs.
For a fellow Kitchen Guild member.
Oh, I'm being recognized at last.
They are awfully hairy, but they aren't bad.
Good for picking one's teeth, I imagine.
A little bitter, but you get used to it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, there's very little I enjoy more than stories of people who have made a place for themselves. You know, it's very hard to make your way down here and eat enough and all of that. So I admire that you've managed to do it.
Thank you, Mudtowner. Thank you. What wonderful, remarkable thing to say. You know, there are people in this settlement who probably wouldn't trust people like you who have come from so high up. But I trust you. Such kind words, such kind words. Listen, let me not waste your time anymore. I will get you to this, the home of sunlight in the dark. This is what you ask, and then I will get you to your corpse mushrooms.
Thank you.
They have a special, I like to think, a very fleshy aftertaste. I call it umami.
Yes.
Yes.
Cannot wait.
Just like Mom used to make.
No, mommy.
Yes. Okay, so is anyone wishing to hang back in Whiptail's mausoleum? If not, he takes you all to Sunlight in the Dark habitat.
Yeah. Let's head on out.
Yes, sunlight in the dark.
All right then. He takes you all to He takes you all to a tomb, which is tucked away in the corner of this cavern. You pass some more huddled, shambling people. Some of them raise hands in greeting or their voices to Barkus Whiptail. He seems to be quite a well-liked individual. Most of them ignore you. It's quite obvious that the four of you are visitors, and they don't anticipate visitors staying long, and therefore aren't interested in forming a relationship with you, quite frankly. Fawn is a settlement that largely goes without trade. They don't have many guild representatives here, except for the diggers, it seems, because of what's going on above you. And you can hear it. You can hear the scraping and clunking and bashing of a whole mining team, you think. There's probably a good 10, maybe 20 people up there who are cleaving away the rock and trying to make their way through the soft parts. He shakes his head. I am sorry. It does disrupt the peace of this place. But here we are. This is where Sunlight in the Dark once made her habitat. There's not much I can show you, I'm afraid. He pushes the door across. The first thing you're greeted by is a corpse laying in state atop a granite slab. Where the granites come from in this stratum, whoever hefted it here hefted it with a lot of heft, because yes, this person is laid there in state, clothed, armored at that, weapon across their lap, a jeweled dagger, arms folded, not up to shoulders, but folded almost as if laying there impatiently. And yet at first, well, you know it's a corpse, because this place is lousy with corpses, it's full of the damn things. But as you enter, yeah, you do get that impression, wow, this person's only recently dead. They still have color to their skin. They're not blue, they're not white, they don't look gray and emaciated. They look, well, almost healthy. Well, as I say, this was Sunlight in the Dark's habitat. These are all her things. We weren't close. He gestures at some clothes, some items, accoutrements. There's a stack of stone tablets. There's some chisels and some parchment as well, along with some ink. That's a nice find. He says, I'll leave you to it, but please don't go robbing the place. For all I know, she might come back when she realizes Telva's hearth isn't for her. It's not. It shouldn't be for her. He wanders off.
What's on these stone tablets? What's up?
Oh, I was just, what are we doing here?
Oh,
Yes, thank you.
robbing the place. No, I kid. He'd mentioned that the previous owner had gone to Telver's hearth and left all of her things behind. And I thought if we're going that way, we could deliver them.
Oh. Oh.
Mm.
That seems legit. Alice. And if we
So we
don't
are
run
around
into her, because we went the wrong way.
If some of the supplies get used on the way, that's just a delivery fee. That's all.
So those tablets you were asking about, they look old. They look like tombstones or headstones.
Okay.
They're carved with old etchings. You can tell because they have, to some degree, been weathered. Now, this far down, there isn't much in the way of natural weathering. There's not like vast flows of water or wind or dust storms passing through here. And yet, some things do wear away words in stones. And so these ones have probably been here for quite some time. Nevertheless, you can certainly try and make out what the tablets say. I would suggest that anyone who is trying to do so could make. Let's go for a culture and intellect. If any of our elves or elfkin are reading these tablets, the difficulty is going to only be 2. For anyone else, the difficulty is going to be 3.
Okay, culture and intellect. I'll attempt it.
Okay, I'll try. I mean, well, that's 2 dice for me, so this is not my strong suit, but we'll see.
Give it a
Only
shot.
9
one
and
The
10.
worst thing that can happen is you fail horribly.
9
I'll try
and
it
10.
too.
Just only
Oh
one.
god, yeah, this is the thing. When everyone starts volunteering to roll, this is when you all start failing and bad things happen. I didn't say there were any
10.
complications, so I'm not going to add them retroactively.
I got 3.
You got 3 hits.
Mhm.
I got
I got-
4.
I got
Ooh.
2, 9,
Ooh.
and 10.
Okay, and
I, the elf, I'm the elf, and I have no idea what this says.
you squint and think, well, I must have got some of that miasma in my eye or something. Well, Dale is also an elf, and
Oh.
so it is possible to read these, and indeed you do. This is an old elf language. Some ancestors of the elfkin would call this an exil tongue. That's a pretty derogatory statement, but it would have been carved by people who were exiled to this place down here long, long ago. A rather sore spot in elfkin history. It's a well, quite simply put, you've all got enough hits, excluding Mirren, to interpret the whole thing. It looks like a warning. It says, "Here locked away are the bearers of stars. Do not dig, flee." Now, it looks to you like these have only just been excavated in probably, well, they've still got fresh dirt on them, essentially. At this point, you hear a rumbling. Of course you do.
Cool.
I wonder if they
Uh,
continue digging.
That's
The
not good.
miners,
That's
the
not good.
excavators above you. Yes, their scraping and hammering has turned to rumbling.
I'm certain there's absolutely no significance to the timing in which that
No.
occurred.
We're just very lucky.
Yeah, I'm going to turn to my associate and say, didn't he say something about she had come back to town with a warning?
Evidently, it wasn't heated. Yeah. Where's our rat friend?
Yeah, we should
He's
probably let
not
him know.
yeah, he's not far away. He left you to your own devices, though.
It's like, hey.
Oh, wow. Dale,
He's
because
looking
he-
up at the ceiling, sharing the same sort of expression of consternation as the corpse in this tomb, folded arms, frowning. That noise that there's never been as bad as this. Looks at you.
Yeah, Dale will, instead of running over, will, because he could do this fly over, so he'll just post up on the he'll just take through the air a little bit, maybe a couple of feet off the ground, and just fly right toward their rat friend. Tell him what he's found on the tablets.
Oh, well, I suppose someone should probably go up there and tell them to stop digging, shouldn't they?
Yeah. we should. Where are they? I can tell them.
Yes. Well, you just need to leave Fawn, find the tunnels that head upward. Of course, they're pretty well marked. They're only recently excavated, and find the digging team. I'm sure they won't listen to a felming word you say, but you can try. You know what diggers are like.
Yes. Well.
They get an objective in their head, and they have to find that ore, don't they?
And
yes.
yeah, and I think Mirren has caught up and is like, and as much as she could overhear, is like, is there something that we could say to them that would help? Do you know? Are they hungry? Is there something we could do for them?
I don't think they'd respond well to an offer of food. It seems Barkus Whiptail hasn't really grasped the severity of the situation. Whether it's been
Yeah.
expressed to him well enough or not, you're not sure either. But he certainly doesn't seem rushed. What would lure miners other than the thrill of mining?
Valrek catches up and he says, I can use my words, my tongue to tell them the error of their ways.
I'm glad you went that way.
I mean, if that doesn't work.
You've got a thing for sweaty, grease-stained miners there. Yes,
I'm back.
I am sure you could try, but the rumbling is getting louder now, and then you hear a crack, a loud crack that starts near the entrance to this cave and cracks like a quake up through the roof, through the peaked ceiling, and then you see it. It's not just a sound of crack, 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 and split and bang, but you actually start seeing the roof open. And now Barkus Whiptail looks alarmed. Need to get into cover. Need to get it.
Run.
He just runs off.
Okay. Should we? I think I'm gonna actually get into a tomb because I don't want to get.
I'm going to ask you, all of you now, to. You're not going to need to do initiative because there isn't an enemy on the scene, but I am going to ask each of you what you're doing, and then I'm going to tell you what dice pool you need to roll to achieve it. So yes, starting with MK, Miran is heading to a tomb.
Yeah, diving into like a tomb that looks reasonably sturdy.
one with a big roof.
Yeah.
I mean, that may just be more stone to flatten you with. So, well, the closest one is Sunlight in the Darks, though she was in a pretty small one. If you want to travel farther to get to one of the larger mausolea here, you can make an athletics and dexterity roll. They're all going to take athletics and dexterity. To get into Sunlight's habitat, it's only a difficulty 1. To get in one that looks sturdier, because hers doesn't look that sturdy, but it is closer, is difficulty 2 plus a minor complication in the frenzy to get there. The minor complication being that in your panic, you're going to drop an item.
Oh God, I think I have to get to the. I think knowing myself, knowing I have 3 die, I can only get to the closest one.
Okay. All right, let's go for just simple athletics and dexterity for you, and then we will move down the line.
Okay. Oh, 1 hit.
1 hit. Oh, well, that is all you need. That's all you need to get into Sunlight's tomb. Okay, so I'm moving down the line now to Dale. Dale, you see Miran suddenly dash off in the direction of Sunlight's tomb. What's Dale doing?
He'll probably run to one of the farther away, bigger mausoleums, to try and get some cover.
You don't want to be buried alive with Miran, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a creepy company.
All right, so as before, this is difficulty 2. You have a minor complication, though. Yours is not for losing an item. Your minor complication, if you don't buy it off, you will knock someone over as you run for this tomb.
I have cave runner. Is that
Yes, Cave
Wow.
Runner would help you a great deal here. Let's see.
It was fortuitous.
Yes, it's almost as if he knew.
Uh,
At 1 dot, when facing a complication of moving at top speed, spend 1 fewer hit to ignore it. Okay. In that case, yeah, you don't have to bump into anybody. So, all right. So you still need to get 2 hits on your athletics and dexterity.
All right, I have 7 dice for that. 2, 3, 5.
You
7,
should manage it then.
Yeah. What's the
Difficulty
for
2.
this one?
You need 2 hits.
Okay. And what's that hit like?
8s, 9s,
8.
and 10s.
8, 9, 10. Okay. That is 8 and 9.
Oh, you just about make it then. So as you're running, you nearly collide with Whiptail, who is kind of zigzagging in a bit of a panic. He can't get back to his own house, can't get back to his own habitat, I should say. Not sure where to go. You nearly collide. Instead, you take a jump to the left and then a step to the right, and then you're through into this well-appointed tomb. So now Valrek.
Well, Valrek, first of all, is not scared. He's excited. This is what he left Mudtown for. He's already dead in his mind, so this is just a big game. So he's going to make his way toward where Mirren is, but not.
Do you want to look cool while doing it?
Yeah, kind of. He's not really running. He's just kind of making his way there. But he's going to fail because I have dexterity and athletics are not his strong suit.
Oh no. All right then. Well, let's see. If you are, I would say that you're not really using athletics and dexterity if you're trying to walk calmly. What I would suggest instead is you're probably going to be looking at athletics and resolve.
All right.
Because you are trying to, look cool, stay focused.
Actually, the same thing for him. He's got 3 in both dex and resolve, but that's fine.
Well. Composure would probably work as well.
1 hit.
1 hit. Well, 1 hit is all you need in order to get to where Mirren is. So congratulations. Mirren, you can only watch as this reservoir dog-looking motherfucker slow-mos to little green bag to share a tomb with you. And that leaves M. Glitterstone.
M is going to probably move for the closest available doorway, but that's not her primary concern right now. Her primary concern is to channel chaos into the Aegis sorcery. So I would like to activate that. It is a Esoterica Resolve as the pool.
Yep, it's a simple action in order for you to do this. Now, where you are right now, we've already established that you will have you would typically have a 2 enhancement based on the level you're at. Because I think Aegis is a Chaos Wisdom, isn't it?
Correct.
So, yep, you're good there. However, something is amiss. There's something volatile going on here, and that means we may get some complications too.
Hit me with them. I have an absurd amount of hits.
Yeah. Oh, well, in that case, we may not have complications. Well, you tell me how many hits you got.
9.
Well, yeah.
That's before enhancement. Yeah. 4 10s and a 9.
Wow.
Wow. Improv. We have.
All right. Let's end the. We'll end the scenario. We'll just assume that M buys everyone else's failures off later on.
Well, don't worry. I'll use them. Are there any complications I do need to buy off?
Yeah, you would have a moderate complication here, but I don't think you've got any real risk of not buying it off.
That leaves me with 7 hits then, right?
Yes, it does indeed.
So I would like to spend 3 of those hits to Chaos Lock it, and then the remaining 4 for extra dots of armor.
Okay. Well, as you are basically focusing on your sorcery, that is good, because as the cave starts collapsing and you have your companions running for cover or sauntering for cover, you are basically channeling the chaos around you to form the shield. It's a good job you do. I don't need to roll to hit you with falling masonry and the stones above it.
That makes sense.
Because you have an armor of 4 here. So thud, it actually bounces off the chaos shield that's surrounding you. Another one, crack, smashes into it. It does make you think you should probably move, because it's one thing to be shielded, it's another thing to be shielded in a tomb of boulders.
Right, exactly. Well, and that does bring up the other thing is I believe it's currently listed as a supplemental. So I should be able to run while I'm doing that. Is that correct?
While it is indeed a supplemental, all chaos sorceries are treated as simple actions in terms of their speed.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, then, as soon as I'm able, I will start. I will start moving.
All right. So let's now get your athletics and dexterity then. And where are you going? You're trying to get into
the nearest, whatever the nearest
so just
building
one. I'm going to actually bump the difficulty up, Travis. Not because I hate you and you're 9 hits. That's just part of it.
It's just part of the reason, right?
Yeah. It's because with the increased damage and wreckage of everything that's collapsing, it is harder to reach at this point.
Excellent.
So difficulty 2.
Does this, and please forgive me if this is a bridge too far. Does this difficulty increase come from having to climb anything? I asked due to having the climber thesis, which allows me to resolve complications imposed by climbing without gear.
Yeah, well, this wasn't a complication, but I'll accept it.
Okay,
I'll let you use your thesis here because it's a good use of it. So yeah, difficulty 1.
Excellent.
I hope you fail.
I got 2 hits. I got 110. The rest of it was very, very sad performance, but one of my 10s.
Nevertheless, in mockery of the world below and its story guide, you make your way into Sunlight in the Dark's tomb and can only listen as the cave collapses around you. It isn't collapsing in its entirety. I assume you all take cover, find a sturdy looking point and duck and cover underneath it.
Yeah, I assume I'm running in kind of with an arm over my head as rocks are bouncing off, get under this, get under me.
Yeah, your aegis can extend to other people if they huddle down beside you.
Yeah,
obviously not to Dale, because Dale went and darted off to a more luxurious climb.
Well, and I'm not that big either, so I would assume maybe able to.
It's like Mirren's folding herself into a tiny little fetal position, trying to get small enough to get under you.
All right then. So the cacophony is quite deafening. The vibrations in the earth, the cracking, the thudding, the screaming and running. It feels like it takes a long time for it to resolve. It probably is closer to about 30 seconds. But that's a long time for heavy rocks to fall, collapsing on people, destroying tombs, dislodging bodies, and otherwise entombing all of you in fawn. Dale, you are presently in this tomb, or it looks like it was a family mausoleum. There's no one else in here beyond the dead. There's 6 of them stacked, 3 to a column, laying there quietly, looking healthy as a corpse can. The roof, you chose a decent one. That's true, because the roof has held, even though you heard some pretty close collisions. You can actually look outside and you can see that poor old Barkus Whiptail is pinned under a lump of masonry from the once extravagant steepled ceiling. Meanwhile, the other three of you, your tombed, or rather the habitat of sunlight in the dark, has fared significantly less well. Part of the roof has collapsed in. Travis, or I should say M,
Yes.
you are doing your best. The Aegis sorcery is going to protect you from harm. It doesn't increase your strength.
No, it does not.
So you are holding rocks above your head, and you're able to do it for now.
What I would
You're
like
not going to be able to hold it for long.
What I would like to try to do is, if I can work it myself, I will. Otherwise, I will hand to the nearest person the shovel that I'm carrying, which has the exceptional and rugged tags.
Okay, good tags
And
to
be
use
like,
in this case.
Dig, please.
All right, so I'll deal with the party of three first. Of Miran and Valrek, which one of you do you think is better at excavating? You'd probably be looking at something like technology and might. You might be able to argue survival and might.
Technology and might would
Or
be
close
4
combat and
dice.
might.
Survival
I
and
have-
might would be 7 dice, but technology and might's 4 dice.
If I was able to use survival and stamina, I can do 6.
I think that would make for a good follow-up. So
Okay.
if we go for Valrek, because, that implies some kind of endurance. So Valrek, you're trying to shift the heaviest rocks first of all. Survival and might, please. You have a moderate complication on this. It's only difficulty 1. The moderate
Right.
complication, though, if you don't buy it off, is going to make even more rocks collapse in after you shift the first one.
All right, and that's survival and might.
Yep. Now is probably a good time to be using momentum if you...
3 hits.
Well, if you needed them, but you don't.
Yeah.
Valrak has 4 survival. He's hard to kill. That is his chief strength.
And yet is already dead.
Yes.
All right, so you have to weigh the larger ones. There is still a steady flow of smaller rocks. You must be directly underneath one of these fissures. I'm going to pass over to Miran then to basically, this is the endurance. It's constantly shifting a flow of smaller rocks. So let's go for survival and stamina, please. This one only has a minor complication rather than a moderate one. So difficulty 1, minor complication. Same effect as before, however.
3 hits.
3 hits. Well, in that case, yeah, you managed to keep the rocks from cracking open your skulls and bearing their gooey insides to the air around you. The team works. Now, Dale. You are in this lovely mausoleum with its 6 deceased inhabitants. You can see from the doorway, which isn't blocked, the pinned body of Barkus Whiptail. You can't tell if Barkus is dead. At the very least, he's unconscious because he's not moving. It seems that the collapse from above has stopped in any significant way. You can occasionally hear a dull thud in the distance, probably loose boulders and rocks collapsing elsewhere, but this is a large cave. Do you want to exit, or are you going to stay in here for your own safety for the time being?
He'll exit. I imagine he'd probably feel bad leaving Whiptail stuck under that boulder or something, so I guess I'll just exit and push the boulder off of Whiptail.
Well, this is what you put your points into,
Yeah.
Procyon. Dale is resplendent with might. So let's go for I think you could probably justify athletics and might here, or survival and might, but whichever one is better for you.
Athletics. So that would
Athletics, then.
be 8 dice.
Oh, good
five.
lord. Well, the moderate complication on this one. So difficulty is 2. He is pinned by a boulder. Moderate complication, so you need 4 hits in total. The moderate complication in this case is you may shift it, but it will worsen the wound if you do. He has suffered a crushing injury. So you ultimately need 4 hits, which you may well get, if tradition is anything to go by.
It's possible I siphoned all the luck from the table. We'll see how it goes.
Well, one can hope.
We'll see. I think this might be a good one to use one of those momentum on.
Oh?
Yeah.
What have you rolled?
Well, that's right. The turning failure to success.
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
can do it
I
after
haven't
the
rolled.
roll.
All right. 2 10s.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
it. I should just go home. I am home. What am I saying?
That's a good.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Matthew. I
It's-
2
truly
10s
am.
and every one below 7.
It's a good thing that Emma's not witnessing this because she might get the vapors if she noticed that. You know, like saving the kindly rat dude.
Yeah, this is Dale's moment. You don't just roll that boulder out the way, Dale. You heft it. You heft it and launch it. This is your Incredible Hulk moment. And crush
he
some
just-
other poor bastard.
I'll just heft it up and then see if our kindly host is still alive.
Barkus is still alive, though. His legs are in terrible shape, and his tail for that matter. But his legs are probably more integral to his survival. He is unconscious, but yeah, his legs are a sodden mass of exposed pink flesh, bone, and, well, you're not even sure what that is, but you can see it, and you're not supposed to. You could probably drag him to safety. What you know about healing, you could probably explain to a mushroom, and the mushroom be able to tell you, actually, I know more than you, Dale.
Speaking of which, bring her
yes.
to here.
Yeah, speaking of healing mushrooms,
Do I move?
you can actually see sunlight in the dark's tomb over the way, Dale. It looks like lots of rocks are still landing around that one. You don't think it's targeted or anything. It just so happens that it was an unlucky position with this earthquake or whatever it is that happened here. By all means, you can go over and help them excavate, though you know that every moment spent not tending to Barkus, he is losing blood. You could signal them, of course. You could call out for them. There are lots of people calling, of course, now for help.
Actually, you know what? I could always. I think this actually might be somewhat useful to use. What I didn't think would get actual use, but the pet rock thesis says can be used to deliver messages.
Yes, you can launch a pet rock. I thought you were going to try and perform surgery with him. Now it's just you and me, buddy.
No,
I don't think this guy needs a tracheectomy, but that's the only one I know.
I would probably kill him first.
Yes.
No,
Trepanning
it's
by
time
a
for
rock.
Okay,
I'm
rock to shine.
not going to make you roll for use of your pet rock. You can throw it in the direction of the tomb. Pet rock can be used just so everyone knows. Pet rock was, I think, the heroic talent in our Ashcan version that everyone enjoyed using. It seems to have been the favorite synthesis in this game so far. You basically can gain +1 enhancement when assaulting someone with your pet rock from range. You can also throw it to deliver small messages, and it will always return to your hand on the next turn if you want it to. But in this case, presuming you quickly scrawl Barkus in trouble or something to that effect, Dale, and then throw it through the gap. The three of you see the rock. I would say that M, you recognize this pet rock. You recognize Clyde because, in fact, Dale introduced you to it earlier this day.
For sure.
This is like Lassie coming to the door or something.
Right. I'll like scoop it as I'm running by and be like,
"What is it, Clyde?
Dale's
Is
in
there a
trouble."
There's a lich in the well.
He got trapped in a refrigerator.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna like grab it as I run by to head out toward to see what's going on with Dale.
I mean, it means you.
If I can, if we've figured it out.
The three of you are pretty well entombed, but if you are leaving said tomb, I'm going to ask. And at this point, all of you are developing bonds with each other. Whichever one of you has got the best athletics and might can try shifting these rocks that are blocking your way out. I mean, you could try crawling out, but that's going to be a lot slower.
Sure.
So you get a +2 enhancement here from helping each other.
Yeah,
I have 0 athletics and 3 might, so I've got 3 might, but no athletics.
I have 2 might.
Wow. Oh, okay. I'm apparently the guns for this group. I have with my whopping dice pool of 5.
Yeah, and +2 enhancement.
Yeah, +2 enhancement. All right,
no complication.
I'm on the wrong side of this one. Oh.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah, our
so
tank went and ran.
that is 3. At 1
hits. Yep. Okay.
1 hit on the dice. So
you beat the difficulty of 2 with aplomb because you have your +2 enhancement as well. And so, yes, you're able to shift the rocks out the way and make your way to the open square where Barkus Whiptail is lying, bloody legs exposed. Dale, you get your pet rock back. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. So
Probably
I think
just manifests back in his hand.
yeah, Mirren is I wouldn't say she's like the best doctor in the world, but she's not bad. So she's gonna bend down and start like just tearing off parts of this guy's clothes to make a bandage for the legs, like to start trying like what kind of injuries do we have here? Like, are we like seeing bone and shit like that?
Oh yeah, his legs are completely crushed.
If I may,
oh man,
I would like to do some wild some wild sorcery.
okay.
Yeah, you can. Anyone can try conjuring their own magic, but so Mirren, first of all, let's see if you can stabilize medicine and intellect, please. The difficulty here is going to be 2, minor complication again. You will make it worse if you don't buy it off.
And if you stabilize him, Valrek has curative clay, which will restore 1 full injury level.
Okay.
Yeah, and my 3 hits. Awesome.
Okay,
yeah.
So all right, so you've stabilized Barkus. Barkus is not going to bleed out, though right now he ain't going to be dancing anytime soon. The curative clay now, the Valrek is applying to the wounds. I mean, it looks pretty grotesque to you, Dale. But then again, you're an elemental, so maybe it looks like it looks like he's just becoming one with the world below. There's something peaceful about that. So yeah, Valrek, if you're applying your curative clay, good stuff. You are helping with the healing process, such as you can. And this leaves Travis and your attempt at some wild sorcery. So, for the sake of viewers and listeners, you can create your own magic in this game in much the same fashion as something like Mage the Ascension or Mage the Awakening. The greater the effect you're going for, the more complications or greater the greater the complications that will apply. One thing we've not actually covered in this actual play is if you don't buy off complications with sorcery, you trigger chaotic retaliations. Chaotic retaliations are the equivalent of your paradox effects or wild magic effects if you're looking back to like second edition AD&D. So let's look at what you're going for here, Travis.
So my hope was actually just to inflict the insensate condition on them.
Okay. So to apply one status effect on a target adds 1 difficulty to the roll.
Yep, and that's really all I want to be able to do because I can't. One thing I do not find, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, is the ability to actually directly heal somebody by using a wild chaos.
That's a very good point. I think we would probably substitute that for damage in this case. So that would be an additional difficulty.
Yeah, I mean,
so if you're happy to, so right now that's just 2 difficulty. If you want to heal 1 and inflict the insensate status effect, you're going for a difficulty 2 wild chaos tethering.
Beautiful. And what attribute and or ability attribute combination would you want me to use?
So this one's determined by the both of us. Medicine makes sense. But you could probably pair that with, actually no, we could go for esoterica because this is magic.
Okay.
So esoterica, and I think you're actually acting at speed, so we'll go for cunning rather than intellect here.
Okay.
Now before you roll, just a couple more things.
Sure.
So we need to take these things into account. 1, this is a difficulty 2 sorcery.
Yep.
2, in terms of complications, there are distractions and there are volatile chaotic energies in play here.
Okay.
As will become apparent. So that is a moderate complication on top of that. Enhancements, however, I'm going to suggest that the enhancement has actually been reduced to 1. You will again possibly find out why soon. So yeah, difficulty 2, complication 2, you've got an enhancement of 1. Go for it.
All right, so it looks like we're looking at exactly 1 hit. So that's
Do
2.
you want to spend some of those momentum?
Spend them.
All we can really do is take a failure into a success at this point, though, correct? And it's not.
You could, in theory, so you've got 2 choices here. You could spend 2 momentum to turn a failure into a success with consequences.
Well, and this isn't actually. I mean, this is a success with consequences, right? Because I've got the 2 for the difficulty.
The difficulty was 2. Oh yes, because you've got the enhancement. You're
right. So yeah, we're not buying off at this point.
Yeah, but you can do a 1-for-1. So essentially 1 momentum for 1 enhancement. If you do it twice,
okay.
So if you spend 2 momentum, you will buy off the chaotic retaliation as well.
Does the party want to do that? I'm totally fine with coping with the chaotic retaliation. Full disclosure, it might not just be my problem. In fact, it likely won't just be my problem.
I mean, it would be fun. Fun for someone.
Well, we're toward the end of the session with my meta knowledge, so we can spend it, but we're also toward the end of the session, so we might as well have some fun. So which do you guys want?
I leave it to the
feel
to
bad
the
for Matthew kind of getting with the 9 successes and everything. So I think give it to him.
Oh, I know. I'm more than happy with you succeeding. That's the luck of the dice roll, isn't it? I'm not bitter at all.
I remember we rolled very well during the Ashcan edition play at the Onyx Path Con.
Oh,
you know,
poor Matthew.
They say that a system where the margin of difficulty is 8s, 9s, and 10s is actually quite punishing I have yet to actually see the evidence.
No, yeah, that is inaccurate in my anecdotal experience.
Anyway, so what's it going to be? You do currently have
Yeah,
momentum to spend.
As long as everybody's cool with it, I'll spend the momentum and make it
Yeah.
a nice
Yeah.
and smooth experience for all parties concerned.
Yeah.
All right, so
Um,
I'm going to tell you what you could have won. If Travis, you roll
Okay.
roll 2d10 here, and we can see what chaotic retaliation you would have got on.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
a moderate one.
I got a 5 and a 3, so
8 in total. You would the ground shifts and heaves with the chaos surge.
so it just caused the
So-
exact thing. Just...
Yes, it's basically an earthquake. It's a trembler. All characters within medium range of the caster suffer +2 difficulty to physical actions as the ground vibrates. That wouldn't have gone well for everyone in this cavern, setting off another earthquake. As it is, however, you do buy that off, and with that in mind, you're able to heal another damage on this NPC, on Barkus Whiptail, your new best friend. And render him insensate. I mean, he's already unconscious.
Sure, but as they start
now,
like,
if he wakes up, he won't be able to feel his legs, which could be good.
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
you would,
I
you
can't
would.
feel my legs.
And you'd say that's a good thing. I promise. you.
That's a good thing for at least the next 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. Can anyone smell almonds? No, just rotting meat. So I appreciate we are closing in on the end of our session, and so I'm not going to throw anyone into combat at this point.
Okay.
But what I will do is trigger the eclipse, because as the roof above you has opened up, this fissure wide in the ceiling, you can see several glowing lights moving around up there in a organic manner. They're large, they're wide, they're bulbous. They seem to be crawling around on a surface, and occasionally from the flicker of one of those lights you can actually see tangled bodies and long limbs attached to them, just shifting around in the dark up there. And then you start hearing a crackling, like a white noise to us, feedback almost, and whispers of rise, rise, rise and reclaim, reclaim and reclaim. And all of these voices are joining a chorus. There's so many lights up there, and then they go out. Dark, pitch black. Even the sunflies are out. There's silence, and then moaning. People scared in the settlement, clearly. Someone shouts out, "What happened to the sunflies?" Far away from you. And then there's a scream. And then there's another one. Then the illumination starts again. It's now in the settlement. And you can see these juddering, twisting figures with their star-like heads balanced upon thin necks, wobbling in a term that is overused in an almost comedic manner, were it not so horrific. As these entities known as star bearers, now freshly unearthed from their tomb, are creeping and crawling around the crushed settlement of Fawn. What do the four of you do? You have an unconscious Barkus Whiptail with you. There is only one way in and one way out, and that is partly buried. I say there's only one way in. You could go up through the fissure, or you could stand and fight, or hide in a tomb. I mean, you may come up with another alternative. I'll let you negotiate as a group.
Dale's first reaction would be to do his job, since he's a hunter. This thing, so
Valrak
what
could
you
use
trained
air
for.
of authority to make them
Now then,
make them feel
you
bad
stop.
about
Yes.
themselves. Valrak does have flash, which creates the overstimulating area effect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you want to maybe drop that, and then we can
Yeah.
hide. Will one of us be able to carry our dear friend who so bravely gave their consciousness and whose name I can't recall now?
I
His
think I
name was
think
Barkus Whiptail. You monster.
Bacchus. Like
Yes.
Bacchus. So I'm out of character, I guess. I'm a little concerned that if we go back to a tomb, that we're gonna have some rising dead.
Right, we're gonna bump into one of them. That's my thoughts too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, I think we want to
Um,
stay out of the tombs.
I mean,
Yeah, we want to.
I'm happy to, if we want to try to just make a break for it, I'm happy to bring up the rear because I've got 4 armor that's not going to go away until it's destroyed, or until the story ends, or until I chaos lock something else.
Mm-hmm.
So
Could we?
Yeah.
Perhaps we go up.
Actually,
I mean,
I have a synthesis that actually could help protect everyone. And I'm thinking Dale, since he's a hunter, would probably draw his weapon and kill anything that gets in the way. But
so you're in the
it's
front and
blocking winds, which gives armor to, I believe, everyone nearby.
Okay, let me have a
Uh,
look at that
yeah.
one. This is one of your syntheses. Yes, blocking winds.
Yep.
Your control over the elements allows you to summon a shield that blocks incoming ranged attacks. So yeah, that'll be very good. Every character in short range. So as long as everyone sticks together, you can activate that. You don't need to roll for it. It is just there.
Yeah, so he'll summon up some blocking winds, draw his sword, and he'll say, let's go. Anything that gets in the way, I'll take care of it.
okay.
Yeah.
You're in the back. Me and Mike. Could you remind me? Valrak, you want to carry this? Valrak,
Yes.
my good friend Valrak.
Yes.
Do you want to help me carry this? Our poor friend.
Yes,
Wherever we're going.
Yeah. Valrak will spark a flash, and then it's like it gets a diversion into the area, and then we can grab our friend Barkus.
Yeah.
And go and head up, I guess. Is that what we were thinking? Just away.
Climb up the
Yeah.
rubble. Okay, I'm going to ask for again, you can help each other here. You've formed your bond, and I would say at this point, because typically in a game of the world below, you establish the rating of bonds during character creation. As it is, we've managed to do it through roleplay. As Miran and Valrak have now been through more than one crisis together, I would say that their bond with each other is the level 2 one. Your bond with the other 2 will be level 1. So whichever one of you wants to make the roll for, let's say, I mean, this is the roll of the night, isn't it? Athletics.
Something
You're
we're
also
bad
good at it. Well, if you can come up with a different one for climbing up loose rubble to
No,
get
that's
into the
definitely athletics.
athletics, and as
Stamina?
there's some okay, stamina if you're going to go slow and steady. I'll let you stamina, and you get, see, this is the problem, I'm too kind. You also get +2 enhancement, so best of luck. Complication on this, so difficulty is 2, complication is moderate. The complication being that while you may succeed in climbing up, you may end up losing Whiptail.
Okay,
I
who's
actually
got
had a
the
thought
higher?
about. I actually had a thought about that. The flight synthesis that I have is that I can carry double my body weight without dropping. So
You
wow.
can, but
in
yes,
theory,
but
just
you
carry it with
are
tail.
you're currently at the back defending the rear of the party with your shield. So let's see how these 2 do first.
I've got 4
Okay.
total. What do you have?
Yeah, I've got 4 total.
All right. Well, you want to make the roll for us?
Okay, let's see how I do.
I'm
Real
sending
dice
all
are
But
better
it
than
can't
computer
hold up.
dice.
I'm sending
We
all
have
the good
two
luck I can
momentum-
muster your
There's
way.
two momentum remaining, so this is
So so I didn't get any and I've got a 1.
Oh.
oh no.
Can
Well, that's a
we
shame.
can I buy that off with the, or is that
Yeah,
not
yeah.
unbuy-offable?
You can spend the
Our
2
last
momentum to
momentum.
turn your failure into a success with consequences.
Yeah, do it.
What that
Absolutely.
means
Oh, Bacchus
as-
is gone.
yeah,
Goodbye, Bacchus.
Valrek and Mirren get to the top. The ground is just too loose. It isn't like you just go, oh well, and throw him in. It's just all you can do is to hold on and stop yourselves from falling is let go of him, which means he slides down the shale back towards Dale and
After all we did.
I mean,
Oh.
well, it basically means Dale, if you're going to carry him, you're not going to easily be able to defend yourself. It's your choice, Dale.
That's a tough one.
Your synthesis will still be effective. The problem is if someone tries to engage you in melee, and you can see these star bearers shambling towards you.
What I will say,
Yes,
if you want to keep yourself free to move, like I can take getting hit a couple of times before it's a problem at this point. Like I can just tank hits for a good long while. Provided they're just actually hitting and not like melting my brain.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be better for you and to carry so that I have my not exactly hands free, but with so I could still use my sword if anything gets in the way, just to kill anything that happens to get in the way, so that you could carry him instead.
Absolutely,
very good at that.
and not to be too meta about it, but also I have the climber climber thing, so any complications due to climbing I automatically ignore.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot more sense for me to, I think, carry him up at this point.
Okay, then, Glitterstone, you're carrying another person, so I'm going to say that the difficulty, you don't know complications because you're a climber. Difficulty is 3 because you are moving yourself and another person.
That's fair. And that's a might athletics, is that right?
I think that's fair, unless you have a better idea.
No, I mean, anywhere across the physical spread is the same for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, best of luck.
I appreciate
if you drop him again,
it was fate if I drop him again.
Yeah.
That is 2 hits, and we're out of momentum, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, not anymore.
I got you, but oh shit!
I mean, on that, you are not successful either. So yeah, every step forward carrying him is 2 steps back because the ground is just moving beneath your feet. There's small rocks, slippery rocks. It's
the second time today I've gotten Bugs Bunny visuals during this game.
I'll save you.
Which means as the Star Bearers shamble in, Dale, now back to you. This is the moment where you're going to have to choose, I'm afraid. There's a lot of them, more than you can take out with swing of your sword. You could hold some back, but you're not going to be able to hold them all. So I'm going to make you choose, Dale. Are you going to carry M, or are you going to carry Barkus Whiptail?
That's a tough one.
I mean, M may be able to get herself up there, if not carrying someone. Barkus most certainly won't, but you are a lot closer to M. You've traveled all the way from Auracaster with M. But Barkus is defenseless. What are you going to do?
Okay, Barkus is defenseless, and M can take a couple hits, and I can always just slide back down to help M, and M's more likely to survive. So I'll grab Barkus and fly him up the
okay,
up the cavern real
good
quick.
Job you have your wind, your blocking winds. Because the Star Bearers start, upon seeing your flight to escape, start bombarding you. with projectiles of intense heat. Could I ask, so do you already have armor?
I
interest?
have the inks.
Oh yes, your Inkslinger.
Yeah, the ink slinger.
Weave, yes, indeed. Okay, and you've got the elemental tag as well on your blocking winds. Okay. The shots don't blast through your armor, but if you fly back down for M, it's not going to withstand this kind of assault. So you can get Barkus all the way up there, and this just leaves you, Travis. Travis, your armor, your Aegis is not going to withstand much of this either.
No,
if you're going to
yeah.
escape, you're going to have to do so on this roll.
That's my hope.
This is going to be the end of our session, so let's hope you end triumphantly. You have 1 momentum because of your failure.
Right.
So it's tense. What are you going to try and do to escape? Because there's far too many star bearers here for you to...
I'm assuming I'm just going to go with a straight climbing roll. I don't really see another way out of here.
You could try hiding in a tomb, double back, or go for the entrance to the cave.
No, I'm gonna try to at least just the easy way to escape. Failing that, if I go down, I've got enough. There's enough chaos around for me to take some of them with me.
That is definitely true. You just at that point you just go for some weird, wild, magical effect and embrace the retaliation.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's see how this goes.
All right. So you're only carrying yourself. Difficulty 2.
That would be exactly 2 successes. Or 2 hits. I got a 10.
Oh.
There you go. You manage it. It's pretty inelegant as you scrabble across loose rock. And at that point, you feel your Aegis snap under the blasts of radiance. But just as you get to the top and another one careens by you, you are now in the former prison of the Star Bearers, because this is where they were locked away above Fawn. And luckily, it isn't a prison from all respects, because this place has just been excavated. The way the miners came in is the way you can now get out.
That's going to be a terrible problem for somebody, I say.
Well, as you hot-foot it away from Fawn in the way of bloody Telva's Hearth, where everyone wants to go, as always Telva's Hearth, you make your way away, and away from the insanity that is currently raging in Fawn. I can tell you, looking at your various aspirations, that while there was some food provided in this session, and indeed an injury was healed, and so experience would be earned, I don't know that we could justify that anyone made a lucky discovery. Actually, Dale made a lucky discovery with the star jewels and so on, driving a large beast away from a defenseless community. Almost the opposite happened. What about Valrak? Did Valrak accomplish a fear? Accomplish overcoming a fear?
Probably not, honestly.
So blasé.
And also his long-term aspiration is carve a striking monument to someone's life or death. In my head, that's him that he wants to carve a monument to is himself. So he's kind of selfish. No, he probably wasn't too afraid.
Well, my favorite of the, I think it was long-term aspirations, was make an unlivable place habitable.
Yes.
This is possessed by both Mirren and M. Glitterstone, and once again, I think the opposite happened here. Though it wasn't necessarily your fault just because you read those tablets. I mean, that just because that happened didn't trigger anything, surely. It was no blood on your hands.
Yeah, must have been just the miners and some
miners.
Exactly. Anyway, we do reach the end of our session now, with our brave party running away and doing what parties often should do in the world below, which is realizing not every fight is there to be won. Sometimes survival is the only victory. and exploration, another great part of it. They encountered the settlement of Fawn, some very strange people and events, and will have things to tell the guild members of Telva's Hearth when they finally get to their destination. But with all that said, I want to say thank you so much to all of the players tonight. I very much enjoyed running this, and
Yes.
I always enjoy running games for all of you, even you, Travis, who isn't
Aw.
ordinarily part of my group.
Thanks.
And
I say
do want
Clyde was the real hero of that session.
yeah. Well, Clyde could have taken all of those star bearers out if he'd been given a chance. Just no one takes him
That's right.
seriously.
Right, exactly.
That's right.
I do want to say once more, not to harp on about it too much, this was all in benefit of Make-A-Wish. So if you've enjoyed this even moderately, please consider going over to Make-A-Wish and making a donation, even if it is a small one. A small one is still a huge benefit when you start adding all these things up. So please do consider doing so. And going down the line now, MK, if people want to find you on social media, or if you want to promote something, I know we did them at the beginning, but if you want to do it again now, where would they go? What would they look for?
Quelia.bluesky.social for social media. I am managing editor of Onyx Path Publishing, and you should go buy The World Below Ashcan because I edited that. So,
Wonderful. Yeah. And how about Procyon?
Hi. I don't really have much of a social media presence, but if you want to see my if you want to hear a podcast version of my running of Giovanni Chronicles for Vampire the Masquerade, you can look on most places you get podcasts, and also YouTube on the channel Usurper 1872 Plays. We're actually on the third book, but the podcast is a little behind. But it's up there. I'm running it. I have some lovely people playing it with me. So if you want to see how I want to hear how I handle that, you can check that out.
Thank you very much. And Michael.
I was on the What If World podcast, kids podcast, improvising a story a few weeks ago. If you want to hear me do that, it's a lot of fun.
Lovely. Okay, well, thank you so much. And Travis.
My name's Travis. My pronouns are he, they. I was playing M. Her pronouns are she, her. What do I have? Well, you can find me everywhere online, pretty much at Travis Legge, Legge. And I wanted to remind everybody that Rat in a Burning Cage is out in its POD form now over at DriveThruRPG. It's an amazing adventure, really sort of, I guess, box set-y sort of collection of multimedia resources for Trinity Continuum Assassins. It's awesome fun. Go pick it up.
Yeah, indeed. Drawing strong inspiration from William Friedkin's Sorcerer, if you are familiar with that movie. And if you're not, you should check it out. It's a hidden gem. And I am Matthew Dawkins. You can find me on MatthewDawkins.com or on various social medias at DawkinsMP. In fact, that's a lie. I'm on social media right now. And yes, once again, pointing people at the World Below Ashcan edition. And when this goes out on Backer Kit, please do consider giving us your backing. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Travis, see us out.
Bye, everybody. Get your shots.
Bye, everyone.
Get your shots.